The internet today? It feels like actual magic. We're sending messages across the globe in a split second, streaming entire worlds on demand, and connecting with billions of people. But what if I told you that the whole thing has a secret history? A story that wasn't born in some Silicon Valley garage, but out of fear, out of war, and a desperate race for survival. So let's just get right into it. The popular story, the myth, is that the internet was invented in Silicon Valley to help us all connect with each other. But the reality? Oh, it's way more dramatic. The truth is, it was born from the Pentagon. And its original purpose wasn't social media. It was designed to make sure America could communicate after a nuclear apocalypse. Yeah, a very, very different origin story.
All right, let's wind the clock all the way back to the beginning. Section 1, Born from Fear.
Okay, picture this. It's the 1960s. The Cold War is absolutely raging, and the US government has this terrifying, existential problem on its hands. See, their entire communication system, all their phone lines, their military command, it was all centralized. And that meant one single well-aimed nuke could wipe it all out, basically paralyzing the entire country in one shot. So faced with this, unbelievably high-stakes threat, the Pentagon's Advanced Research Projects Agency, what they called ARPA, was given a mission. And their objective was crystal clear: create a communication system that could actually survive a nuclear war. It had to be decentralized with absolutely no single point of failure. And the answer they came up with? A top-secret project they called ARPANET. And this, right here, was the direct ancestor of the internet we use today. This wasn't about sharing photos, not at all. It was about building a resilient web of connections so that if a nuke took out, say, Chicago, the information would just automatically find a new route to Los Angeles. It was a machine literally built for survival. Okay, so that's the theory, but how did it actually work the first time they flipped the switch? Well, that brings us to Section 2, and ARPANET's very first message, or, well, at least the first part of one. So the year is 1969. You've got two giant computers, one at UCLA, the other one up at Stanford. And for the very first time, they're about to try and talk to each other over this brand new network, this ARPANET. And their goal? It sounds almost laughably simple to us now. A student programmer down at UCLA was just going to try to remotely log into the computer at Stanford. All he had to do was type 5 simple letters: log in. So get this, he's on the phone with the team at Stanford. He types the L. They say, yep, got the L. He types the O, got the O. And then he types the G. And the entire system just crashes. The whole thing goes down. And just like that, the very first message ever successfully sent across this world-changing network wasn't some profound statement about humanity. It was just lo, as in lo and behold. It's just the perfect, accidental, and kind of funny beginning for an invention that would completely redefine how we all communicate. So, from this hilariously humble beginning, this simple lo, ARPANET started to grow. And that brings us to Section 3, which is the moment this military project started to morph into something much, much bigger. Pretty soon, universities all over the country started getting connected to the network, and researchers immediately saw its incredible potential. They started sharing files, data, research papers instantly. And then, get this, in 1971, a programmer named Ray Tomlinson invented something that would change everything: electronic mail, email. You see, that basic human desire to communicate was already starting to reshape the network's entire purpose. Okay, so this is a really important point we got to clear up. As ARPANET grew and started connecting with other networks, it became what we now know as the internet. The best way to think about it is that the internet is the physical hardware, all the wires, the servers, the fiber optic cables crisscrossing the globe. It's the plumbing. But plumbing isn't very useful without faucets and sinks, right? That's where the World Wide Web comes in. The web was invented by a scientist named Tim Berners-Lee back in 1989. And it's the system of websites and pages and links that we all use our browsers to navigate. It's the stuff that runs on top of the internet's plumbing. And then it happened. In 1991, Tim Berners-Lee launched the very first website. And this was the real turning point. Because just like that, the floodgates opened. The internet wasn't just a tool for military planners and academics anymore. It was becoming a public space, open to pretty much anyone with a computer and a modem. And of course, opening those doors to the public led straight to a massive explosion of commercial growth in the 1990s, a period we now call the dot-com boom. I mean, the 90s were just a blur of pure digital chaos and creation. Think about the companies that basically define our lives now: Amazon, Yahoo, Google. They were all born in this super short period, one right after the other, all racing to build the future on this brand new digital frontier. And you can see the whole wild ride right here on this chart of the NASDAQ. Investors poured in money, there was this massive speculative boom, and then, well, it was a huge bubble, and yeah, it burst. But here's the thing. Even after the crash, the important stuff was left standing. The foundation for our modern digital world had been built, and it was here to stay. So, after all that, this incredible journey, where are we now? In our final section, let's just take a second to reflect on a legacy that no one, and I mean no one, could have possibly imagined at the start. I mean, just think about that journey for a second. It's astounding. It started out as a military project designed for nuclear survival. Then, it morphed into an academic tool for sharing knowledge. With the web, it became a public space, a new kind of town square. And today? Well, today, it's the global nervous system for the entire planet. So in the end, this whole secret history, it isn't really a story about computers and code. It's a story about human innovation being born from incredible danger. And it's about how that unstoppable, fundamental human desire to connect with each other can take a tool built for war and transform it into something completely different, something its creators never intended. And that kind of leaves us with one big final question. This entire thing, the network that defines our age, was born from a mission to ensure human survival in the face of total destruction. Today, it connects us in ways its creators never even dreamed of. So the question for us is, what are we going to build with it next?